So we're going to take a look at some basic sketching. Um, all 3D models start with a sketch. The sketch would be the 2D plane, so we're going to create a 2D sketch. And you can see when it starts out, it wants me to select a plane to start drawing on. The premise behind this being that if I want to create a box, I have to create a rectangle first. And you can see the little flyout here. I have to create a rectangle first, and then I can extrude that into a 3D model. So the first thing I need to do is create my 2D sketch. And I'm going to choose a work plane to go on here. And you'll see that the top in the ribbon up here changed over to this green highlighted sketch pattern. You can see there's a ton of different stuff for sketching. Your screen will look slightly different from this one. Mine's a little more compressed left to right. As you get a wider camera angle, or not a camera angle, but as a wider monitor, you'll start to see that some of these icons, they either spread out or they go from a picture into a more descriptive item. So we've got this first window here, and this is the draw window. And in the draw window, this is where you have all your different things: lines, circles, arcs, rectangles, slots, splines, ellipses, points, and project geometry. This is not project geometry, it's project, like you want to project something out. And what you probably have noticed by now is that all the little flyouts, they have some pretty good examples on there of what happens. So let's start with a basic cube. You have two options to make a cube. You have a line, and you'll notice that the tools that are used more often are bigger. So you have a line tool, or you have a rectangle, and a rectangle is just a faster way to do it. I'm going to start with the line tool, and we'll draw a rectangle. And mine's going to be crooked, but I can fix that here in a second. So I have some constraints over here. These are geometric constraints. They tell the lines to do things. And so I want to create perpendicular constraints between these two lines and these two lines so that they make perfect 90-degree angles. And then I want to make sure that, and you can see they're straight, but if I wanted to, I can make horizontal and vertical lines. Okay. From here, the very important constraint is a dimension. So I would dimension my line. Maybe I want that to be 1 inch. And then I want this one to be 1 inch. And that gives me a 1 inch square. Alright. Now I can accomplish the exact same thing by creating a rectangle, and you'll see that it's highlighted on the bottom, so I can put in 1 for the bottom, and then what happens is it will allow me to dimension this other side, and I get the same effect, so I get a 1 inch square. There's some other tools up here, so maybe I want to create a cube with a hole in it. The circle tool, each one of these has some different options, but we'll just keep with the simple ones. Circle tool is a circle. You start with the center point and draw it out, and you can dimension the circle with either a diameter. If you have an arc, it could be a radius. So maybe I want that to be 0.5, and that'll work for that. And then an arc is you can just create a 3-point arc, 2-point arc, however you want to do it. You have some other pieces over here like a work point. You can use a work point or an ellipse. This is all just trying to get you different shapes. You have polygons, and then you have fillets and chamfers. I'm going to stick with a fillet. We're doing a radius of 0.125, so you can see it rounds that edge, and then I'll do a radius of 0.5 down here on this edge. So a fillet just rounds that corner, and then I can change it to a chamfer and do a chamfer of 0.125, and it works the same way as a fillet, except it cuts the corner off. Okay, so there's some basic line tools. Using the dimension tool, we're making a profile. So the whole idea here is we want to make a profile of this part. All right. So if we go into our isometric view, I'm going to extrude this. And you can see that it'll make a solid shape like that. I'm not actually going to extrude it yet though, because I want to go through and I have some of these different sketch tools that I want you to see in action. So the constraints are pretty straightforward. They lock things in place. The most important one is dimension. Then you have all these different sketch tools, and those are all pretty straightforward as well. What I wanted to be able to show you, though, another pretty good one, is if you have a part that's two-sided, I can actually come over here to pattern, and I can create a mirror pattern. So if I select all that, and then choose the line right here as my mirror line, and click apply, you'll see that it actually mirrors both sides. So then you only have to draw one half of something. Okay, so that's pretty neat. If you put a rectangle, or excuse me, a little polygon right there, and maybe I want this polygon to pattern all the way around this. It's a six-sided. I can use a circular pattern on my sketches, and you can do this for modeling as well. And then make the axis that center point, and you'll see it creates 6 copies. Then I click OK. Alright, so that kind of gets me through some of the basic stuff. Other pieces I might want to use is under Modify. You have Move, Copy, you have all sorts of different stuff, and you'll get a chance to use a lot of these in a worksheet or in a little guide that'll help you kind of follow along. But that's the basics on sketching. I can do trim, so I can trim away. I can trim away lines I don't need, and I can extend lines that I do need. So I'm going to go ahead and trim away. I guess these are all just little components. So I'll just trim this line by deleting it. Alright, so that gives us a solid part there. And just to show you an extrusion of this, I'll go ahead and extrude it for you. So it extrudes out like that. And you'll notice I have the same thing, so I can pattern all of this stuff. So that's a basic mock-up of sketching and sample sketches. Obviously, you'll have to play with these a little bit and figure out some more sketching skills before you can get into the complicated parts in the model train. Okay, so we'll see you on the next one when we look at basic extrusions and 3D models.